Chances are you probably heard about the term mindfulness. And to be honest, you probably put it off as just some bullshit that you saw in your advisory presentations or that your parents told you about when they were nagging you about getting off your phone. But what you don't realize is that mindfulness actually plays a huge part and is probably really important to you and you don't even know it. People might think of mindfulness and think about maybe things that they've seen online or they've seen people doing sort of as trends and just things they do for a week and then quit. Like maybe someone you know has tried meditating for a week and they just weren't consistent with it. And those are all amazing habits, but mindfulness isn't what mindfulness isn't meditation or journaling. Those are methods you use to build that skill by testing your mindfulness. What mindfulness is being active and paying attention to the present moment. That's why you'll hear a lot, mindfulness as a term is synonymous with presence, or when someone's being mindful, they're being present. So, what really is mindfulness? Really? It's a skill that lets you become aware of anything that is currently going on, either in the outside physical world or abstract things that are going on in your mind. And when somebody is mindful, they tend to catch patterns that other people don't. If you're trying to quit a habit, for example, there's a pattern that you need to catch. Because an extremely common problem whenever people try to quit something is they just accidentally start doing it without even realizing it. Whether it's drugs, scrolling on TikTok, watching porn, watching YouTube, whatever. So, the reason why you try to quit TikTok and then accidentally start scrolling and then you're shocked when 2 hours go by is because of that watching TikTok or participating in other bad habits that take away your skill of mindfulness. You weren't mindful enough to realize that pattern. Oh, every time I get home from school, right after I do whatever, right after I grab a snack, while I'm eating that snack, I watch TikTok. And then even after I'm finished watching it, whatever. Like, when you're mindful, you're able to pick up on patterns and be more aware of what's going on. And also, a mindful person would realize what they're doing before they even pull out their phone. When you're mindful, you're just quicker. You have more speed in terms of you realize that you're doing something accidentally faster than someone who's not mindful would realize it. Like, so when you're meditating, basically the idea is you try to focus on one thing in particular, the most common being the breath. So you focus on your breathing, and then you try to catch yourself thinking about other stuff. And the more and more you practice that, the more and more you practice mindfulness, the faster you will catch yourself lost in thought. And when you catch yourself faster, I mean, just think about it logically. The faster you catch yourself being not present, the more time you have to actually be present. So, when you catch yourself thinking about whatever, thinking about school, overthinking about some girl or some drama that's going on, or thinking about video games that you're going to play when you get home or what you're going to eat when you get home, the quicker you realize, the quicker you catch on to how lost in thought you are and how not present you are, the more time you're going to have to actually enjoy things. You're going to look around and actually take notice to something that's going on in nature. Oh, the trees look amazing right now. It's almost summer. The trees are beautiful, like, especially during the springtime. A lot of people, this spring, summertime, everybody's so stressed about finals that they don't even realize, like, what's going on in nature around them. It sounds corny and just like, because in this modern society, for some reason, it's kind of cringe to enjoy nature. So, and that's an important value for me in my friends too, is they got to be able to, take a break for a second and just enjoy what's going on around them, be present. And it's also important if you're ever spending time with anybody, and I'm sure this has clicked for you already, it's super important that they're present. And you probably think about this like, oh, if they're texting on their phone, they're not present. You can be staring directly at somebody and not be present. You can be staring directly at somebody and be thinking about other shit. It's just a matter of mindfulness and actually paying attention and being actively interested. So, mindfulness helps you enjoy things, helps you catch on to the patterns, the bad habits, or the good habits in your brain. For example, if you maybe have a good habit, you want to catch on to it so you can do it more, basically, to put it plain and simple. And when you enjoy the present more, you tend to not get so caught up and stressed out with the small stuff, and not even just the daily tasks of life. Someone who isn't mindful gets caught up with events and tasks. What do they have to do? What problems are currently going on? What happened with Sabrina or Brittany? What are they talking about? What's her name dating now at school? Just all this little stuff that doesn't even matter, that doesn't even impact you. You just get so caught up in just random shit that doesn't even matter. And you don't even get enough time to focus on what really matters, which is everything that's going on in your universe. Because the only real universe is the one you perceive. And being mindful has helped me realize this, catch on to this pattern. And I've just cared what people think so much less. I think about it like, I used to think about every single little movement I did. Oh, they're probably judging me for this. I should walk like this. I should do this, whatever. They're probably judging me for this. But now I'm like, I don't even care. They're not gonna say it to me, so why does it matter to me? It doesn't impact me what they think. Unless they actively are gonna tell me that what I'm doing is stupid, it doesn't impact me whatsoever. It's not even real. They could definitely be judging me in their brains. Just people at school, people at work. They could be judging me in their brains right now. But most likely, they're just comparing me to themselves. And most likely, I'm sure you've heard of this or thought of this, they're most likely too busy thinking about themselves. And when you think about people judging you, it's not even real. It's all in your head. in the book Way of the Superior Man, David Dita says that we often get caught up in what's called do mode, where basically all we can think of is getting the current tasks at hand done as quickly and as efficiently as possible. He describes it as being nose to the grindstone, or a bunch of like nerd vocabulary that I don't know. But I don't know what a grindstone is, but I would assume it's basically getting too caught up in everything you have to do and just being super locked in. And you might be thinking, well, that's being called productive. That's good. And you're right. There's a time and a place. There are productive things you can do that aren't working and getting tasks done. Being present and mindful and enjoying your life is an extremely productive task because it's going to make all your work so much easier. And when you're nose to the grindstone, do mode, you get caught up in tasks. All that's in your mind is basically a to-do list. And you're just getting stuff done back to back to back to back. And there is a time and a place for that. And that part of your life is extremely important. You need to be able to do that. But you need to also make time in your day to actually realize you exist. It's hard to explain, but if you practice mindfulness and journaling and meditation, then you'll probably understand what I'm saying. A person that's mindful kind of thinks about the fact that they exist every day. Maybe it's a little bit of dissociation or derealization, but it's almost like I have control over it now. And that's one of the things that meditating and other abilities that other habits that built up my mindfulness, like a dopamine detox where I don't go on social media, or journaling. I used to have pretty bad derealization, and it peaked really in the second semester of my freshman year last year. But I remember if you have derealization, those might be the only real people that get it, is if you actually have experienced it. Basically, it kind of just feels like you're baked or something. But what happens is I would be like in second and third grade, and I would just like I was like on autopilot, and then I would like wake up for a second and then look at my hands like this, like I was on acid or something, and then just be kind of in like disbelief. Like I would like wiggle my fingers and stuff because I felt like I was in a dream or something. Like it didn't even feel like it was real. And it's really hard to explain. It's like a really abstract concept, I think, to a lot of people. But I've been experiencing that since like second or third grade. I think it's because I've always been kind of, I guess, observant. I don't really know. I'm not trying to like brag. I'm just trying to analyze a little bit why I struggled with this. It also can be from stress or trauma. A lot of times we disassociate. I used to go to therapy, and this is what my therapist said. I'm laughing because like therapy might be perfect for you, but I don't 100% think it worked for me. And my other habits definitely helped me a lot more. But my therapist told me the reason a lot of times people get derealization or disassociation is in a stressful situation. They don't want to currently deal with what's going on. So they just become like reverse mindful. They just the opposite of mindful. They just take themselves out of it and just don't even feel like what's happening is real. It's just a defense mechanism. But mindfulness helped me so much with my derealization, because I used to just be on autopilot just all the time. And then I would wake up throughout the day and I'd be like, wow, I feel like I wasn't even living my day. Like, I feel like my legs were definitely walking myself to my classes. My eyes were definitely looking at stuff. Like, I was definitely using my body and moving around, but I was just on autopilot the whole day. And what mindfulness helps you do is you catch on to that. At first, it doesn't completely remove that, but maybe instead of 3 hours, you realize you've been on autopilot after 1 hour. Then it goes to 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. And then eventually, you'll just be lost in thought, not present, on autopilot for a minute, 30 seconds. And then your brain will be like, like your brain will kind of wake up and realize like, oh, I'm actually here right now. So mindfulness changed my life for the better. Not only by taking away, I can't remember the last time I've had well, I can. It was last year. That's why I said it peaked. Because there was this one time I was so derealized that I had to go home. It was man, I was so tripped out. I just remember I don't know, maybe it was something about the way I stretched, but I was leaning back at lunch and I stretched out. You know those stretches where you just start spazzing out at the end of it and you're just like, ah! I had a stretch where I just did that, and then after that I was like, oh, I literally thought I literally was just so tripped out I could not even do anything. And I went to my next class. It was crazy. I literally, I don't know, I'm gonna sound crazy for saying this. I thought I smoked something and was so tripped out that I didn't remember doing it, because I was also so derealized. I felt like none of it was real. And I was mindful of it. I'm like, wow, none of this feels real. And I'm straight up, I was not on drugs. I swear to God, I was not on drugs. And I just remember, none of it felt real. And I was freaking out, at my desk. And I was afraid to tell my teacher, because I thought I was so disassociated that I wouldn't be able to form words properly. And I ended up going home. I just didn't know what to do. I could not focus in class. So mindfulness and meditating really helped me get out of that. And this was, evidently that became an actual problem in my life. At first it was just a little thing. I actually thought it was kind of cool, but being mindful actually helped me with that a lot. And I haven't had anything like that since I started meditating and journaling. And the major last point of this video is about being an NPC. So you've definitely heard, if you're on the internet right now, you've probably heard about being an NPC, someone's called you an NPC, or you've called somebody else an NPC, and I'm pretty sure you guys don't really know what that fully means. Being an NPC is seen as, if you don't know what an NPC is, it basically stands for non-playable character. So if you've ever played GTA, the video game GTA, and you see just like pedestrians walking on the street or just people driving cars, obviously they're not real people playing the game. They're computer generated. They're non-playable characters. You can't play as them. And basically they're just programmed robots, you could say, that don't think. They just kind of do what they're supposed to do. So a lot of people think of that, and when they think of NPCs, they think of maybe somebody at their school who has strange behavior which reminds them of something that an NPC would do, or they act like they're in a video game, or they're maybe an awkward person. And I'm sure we all can relate to that, just having like physically awkward moments, like when you do that thing where you both walk to each other, and then you try to go around each other, but you both go the same way, and then you do that little shuffle. That's can be seen as what being an NPC is, but really being an NPC has a deeper root. And the idea of what being an NPC is not being mindful. Someone who is like a bot, a robot, NPC, whatever you want to call it, isn't someone that's just a weird person. There's somebody who isn't present. Somebody usually on autopilot. I mean, that makes sense, because that's what an NPC is too. And that leads me to think that if you're calling people NPCs at school, I'm like 85% sure that you are an NPC yourself. Because you wouldn't even really be aware of that meme if you weren't on social media and doing these habits that basically turn you into an NPC. So maybe before you start calling people NPCs, you should think about if you actually are one yourself. It's not just about being different than everybody else, or having friends, or being socially active. It's about how mindful you are. Someone at school could have 0 friends, and they could still be more mindful than you. Still be less of an NPC than you. Because the more lost in thought you get and kind of AFK, away from keyboard, is like the video game term. The more AFK you are, the more of an NPC you are. So the real secret to not being an NPC is to build up that skill of mindfulness. You need to be working on your mindfulness and your presence, because that's what it is. It's a skill. You can learn and develop your ability to be less of an NPC. It's not about your hobbies or any of your interests. It's not about your music taste, your taste in movies, whatever. It's about your ability to catch on to patterns and realize what's actually going on in the real world. So Maybe if you know what an NPC is, you are an NPC. Because maybe you know what an NPC is because you're playing video games, which is an activity that makes you an NPC. It's ironic, but it's 100% true. And I was contemplating calling this video something else. I thought NPC was a really good thing to talk about because it's relatable and it's a current buzzword that's going around. But a really important thing that I need to talk about is mindfulness fixes unhappiness. It sounds extreme, but mindfulness, someone who is 100% mindful is not unhappy. It's directly correlated. Because a mindful person has the potential and most likely will be a grateful person. Because if you're aware of the present moment, you're going to catch this pattern, this system, that there is so much more good in the world than there are bad things. There's so much more good things. So many more good things, than bad things. It's like these NPCs that wake up every single morning and they go do their activities that use up 0.02% of their brain capacity. It's interesting. They don't even I live in Northern California, and they don't even realize that there are beautiful sunsets and sunrises every single day. It's a random example, but that alone is like, there's a beautiful orange burst of color in the sky, orange and pink burst of color in the sky that you could go outside and experience every single night. And slightly different, if you wake up early, you can experience it in the morning. Regardless, no matter what you do. How the fuck are you bummed that your teacher assigned you homework when there are beautiful sunsets and sunrises every single day? How are you upset about this minuscule shit that happens every single day when the trees are blooming and are bright pink for no reason? You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to plant it, water it. You just walk outside and they're there. There's just stuff that makes these people so upset. You get so caught up with this BS. Events that happen, little things you have to do, your chores, that you forget that stuff literally happens every single day. Like, honestly, it's free. Go outside. There's so much that if you're mindful and you catch on to these patterns, there's so much that you can realize is good. There's also stuff you can realize is bad that you're doing that you need to stop, which will change your life. But really, you need to focus on the good. There's sunsets every night. You wake up every single day with 24 hours worth of opportunity to do anything because you're in full control over everything you do. You have access to any single piece of information you want. just by pressing the power button on your phone. Chances are you have a warm, cozy bed you sleep in every night. You have a roof over your head. You have clothes to wear. So why are you stressed and upset about shit that happens every day? If you had nothing going for you after school, 0 friends, 0 hobbies, you still have infinite potential to be the happiest man on the planet. All you have to do is stop overstimulating and distracting yourself and take the time to be in the present moment and appreciate what's actually going on around you. So, this was a pretty long video. I will definitely make videos about how to actually, the technical aspects of how to build up that skill of mindfulness. And I have some specific benefits of each habit, some benefits of journaling, some benefits of meditation, some benefits of different stuff, and I'll make some videos about how to do those habits properly and the best ways to do them. But in the meantime, there are a bunch of good videos about them. So I recommend check out Hamza. Makes really good videos about meditation, gratitude journaling, other types of journaling. I recommend a really good mindfulness exercise is literally just working out or going for runs, or a really simple one you can do is just like stare at a wall and think. So I'll explain the benefits of all those in later videos, but for now, go and watch some videos on those habits, and that'll help you guys out with that, and you guys have a great day.